Welcome back to Car-Pinionated, our weekly and slightly irreverent show about cars, the car industry, and driving in general. I'm Doug Stewart, Senior Digital Content Producer for Fox 61 in Hartford. And this is my friend Glenn Packman, improv person extraordinaire. That didn't come out exactly the way I wanted, but he's really good at the improv stuff. And he's a car enthusiast. And he's my friend, so we're here.
So here we are.
There we are. All right. So Glenn, we're going to talk about one of the electric car companies, Rivian, who last month had a unveiling event for their new smaller SUV, the R2. And looks a lot like the R1, R1S, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But just,
shrunk,
put in the dryer, shrunk a little bit.
right.
I think they've learned some stuff from their first vehicles, and I mean this thing, looks, outside of those weird headlights, which unfortunately some are somewhat growing on me. I don't find them as offensive as I used to, which I don't know, maybe the mind control thing is finally taking a hold. That's a joke, people. Anyway, so their big thing was like, we're going to introduce this R2, right? Here it is. Had a thing in, I think, Santa Monica, small theater, rolled the thing out. Lots of applause, interesting. It is let's see, my price is here. I think it's they were estimating 45,000 to 50,000, so it's kind of a sweet spot in the market. Probably end up actually in actuality being a little bit higher than that, but still that's a good place to be in the market. They learned their lesson and they're putting 2 glove boxes in this one, where the previous models didn't have any. It'll go 330 miles. That's what they're promising. And so they rolled that out. They said, in classic tech style, but wait, there's more. And what they brought out then was the R3, which is a little hatchback version off of the shortened R2 platform, and which is kind of cool looking. It looks a little bit like my old Dodge Omni, and other that style hatchback from the late, the first Golf Rabbits, kind of had that look there.
Yep.
And then, because the first thing wasn't enough, they came out with the R3X, which is a rally version of this, which a lot of people are very excited about. Tell me, Glenn, what you think about the new Rivians?
Well, I'm going to start with the headlight display, which I affectionately call the nostrils, because they're those ovular shaped things. They're distinctive. I definitely didn't like them on the R1. I think the reason that they're growing on you is that the smaller the car, the more normal, for lack of a better term, the nostrils tend to look. On the R3, they're almost innocuous. On the biggest Rivian, they just I don't know what it is. I think the look to me, just like it's screaming, trying so hard to be like Japanese tech look, for lack of I mean, that's just that's what I'm getting, is the video game kind of. I just, something is a disjoint with the oval shaped headlights. Don't mind them on the R3 so much, and they're okay on the R2, but it's a one big styling clunk, and I'm so sad because, especially the truck is okay, but the regular SUVs, the R1 and the R2, they're nice looking cars. Otherwise, they're not overly adorned. They're pretty simplistic in their style. So if they just did something with that headlight display, it'd be a lot warmer to them stylistically. I haven't driven in one, and I'm dying to, because they look like they're doing it right. And I haven't heard any like catastrophic stories about the company having major problems. You might know more about that than I, but just me, the typical consumer, I haven't heard anything.
They go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to add that the little R3 I find really compelling because that came up on my Facebook feed because of this program, no doubt. But there was something from Rivian that was on my Facebook feed, and there was a comment section. So I took 10 minutes to go down the rabbit hole, and somebody had commented, "Yay, they're reintroducing the 1975 Volkswagen Rabbit." And that that back end is reminiscent of. Quick sidebar, the one other than the nostrils, the one big clunk on the R3 is the front end, that lower big black bumpery thing. You got to take a look at it. Looks heavy and out of place, but the rest of the car has this retro kind of appeal. And my response to the reintroducing the 75 Volkswagen Rabbit is, cool. The 75 Volkswagen Rabbit was a game changer that eventually became the GTI. And it's just, that car started a little bit of a revolution about how people look at small cars. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. We made a little economy car that is a blast to drive, it was efficient. It handled a lot of, little on the outside, big on the inside, so why not take a success story and do some clues off of that? So is it very retro? Is it 50 years ago? Yeah, but it's still kind of cool. So I want to drive all three of these so I can get my hands on them, but I'm liking them so far. Just clean up some of the design language and I'll be happy. So if I scream loud enough, they'll hear me, because I mentioned this about, I've been screaming at Acura for years to get rid of the chrome fang, and they did. They listened to me.
They did. Yes.
I got my residual check. Thank you, Acura. That was a lie, by the
way. Glenn sometimes makes jokes about things.
Yeah, sometimes. But that's my take.
Okay, so one of the weird facts that has stuck in my head for years and years and years is that the Rabbit / Golf is 80% passenger room and 20% engine.
Wow.
Because it was huge inside, just in so if that's your point, that's where you're gonna go. Sure. I think it's great. These two, we'll say two, they're two. I think they have great appeal. I think they have great sort of like, we're a little bit different, but we're not too different. And, kind of getting a, price point there. It's a sweet spot in the market, and good on them. But in general, Rivian has some problems putting the vehicles out there. They're out there, they're on, they're being sold, they're available. They have received some flack recently for, they had a second plant they were going to bring online in Georgia, and they're kind of pushing that back, and they've received some flack from the people who gave them all sorts of tax credits in Georgia, so they do great business with Amazon making the delivery vans, the electric delivery vans, and that used to be an exclusive contract. And recently they've been able to change that contract up so that they can sell it to other people. And and those, if you've ever seen like the details of how they design those to enhance the process of the drivers getting in and getting out of the vehicle and all that stuff, it's really fascinating the way they thought that through. I think of all these manufacturers, I think that they're still losing money, but they're not losing as much money. So good, and they're sticking with their vision. So good for them. I really like this design of all three of these vehicles. I think it's really sharp. I'm not going to put surfboards in it, like they show in some of the pictures.
Yeah.
Um,
The
but
surf in Long Island Sound, by the way, for those of you who are from around here, there is none. There are our waves in Long Island Sound get to like that high.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
unless there's a hurricane coming.
yeah. And then they get to that high, right?
Um, but good on them.
Yeah,
I wish them success. I think that they figured it out. The other thing, and I don't know if I'm going to have pictures that I can access of this, but these in both these new cars, they have the coolest steering wheel that I saw people talking about. They have two uh rotating wheels that are in the steering wheel, right? And they change if you've got a thing that has four choices, it'll click boom, 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 four times, 3, 4 times, click between those things. Then if you switch to another thing in the menu that's got 18, now it'll click 18. Um, and it's just two wheels. I thought that's sharp. The
yeah,
the thing I like about the Rivians, and it's been since the first one I saw, I think those interiors are really, really thoughtful.
yeah.
They're very they're not overdone. They're very stylish and and have enough stuff there that X factor of
Yeah.
something that the texture, the the metal, plastic, whatever it is, the wood, the cloth, all those things, I think work really, really well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's frustrating for me because in my view they came really close. Their design language is really clean, and that makes me very happy because so many of the electrical vehicles that are coming out, they're going in the opposite direction. I mean, I'm a fan of Kia Hyundai, but the Kia electric cars they're just way overdone, you
Yeah.
know. And then you got the Rivian, which is just nice, clean lines, which is doubly why the nostrils just set me off, because it's like nice, clean, classy, except for the front, which is just reminding you how techy we are, you know, and
Yeah.
it's like it's a disjoint. So
Yeah.
Rivian needs to listen to me like they all do, you know, because I'm always right. But I just think if they had a little classier display in the front, it would go a long way. So ditch the nostrils.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
That if they didn't have those lights, I think they would disappear.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fair.
And
You certainly know it's a Rivian when you see the nostrils. Yeah.
right,
Right.
right. And which is important for the brand this early on, that these, it makes a statement.
Yeah.
Okay. I wish they had made another statement, but
Yeah.
again, like we talked about last week, they're not calling us.
Right. True. I was just in my travels today. I was heading down the opposite direction from one of the electric Amazon vans, and it signaled to make a left-hand turn. And when it did, they have the round rings as opposed to the nostril rings on the vans. The turn signal is the ring. So they're yellow, sorry, they're white, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it starts flashing yellow, and the white ring turns yellow and begins to flash. And I was like, that's just cool. It's
Yeah.
just they're very cool looking trucks. They really are. It's the future, but it looks not like it's the future, but it doesn't look futuristic. You know, that classic
Yeah. Interesting.
70s idea of what the future is supposed to look like. The Jetsons, my favorite retort for anything that looks overly stylized design for the future. It comes right from the Jetsons. It's
Yeah.
not that. So
Yeah. Um, and like we were saying in last week's episode, it's collecting a whole bunch of data on you and what you're doing and selling it to somebody. So, you know,
yep.
maximizing your profits or your,
Mhm.
how you get your money going, whatever.
So scary.
Yeah.
So so scary.
Well, as always, we wish Rivian the best, and we hope that
Mm.
I hope that this, I hope we see the day when we see these R3 and R3Xs on the street. All right. Want to close up here, but I wanted to put out another appeal for you to send us, our loyal viewers, our loyal fans, to send us a picture or a statement or a video about cars weird cars that you love, that you feel like no one else pays any attention to, but you really think that they're great. We all have them. We all have those, like, those things where we explain to somebody and go, I really like that, fill in the blank. And they look at you like, I thought I knew you. I thought I liked you. So send us an email, send us a video to dstewart@fox61.com. Put in the subject line weird cars so I know what I'm looking for. And or you can put it in the comments below on our YouTube page. Speaking of our YouTube page, if you've liked what you see here, we have more on Car-Pinionated if you look up Car-Pinionated. And like and subscribe because that helps us out. And with that, we're going to close out for this week. So see ya.